On this episode of reDefine, I speak with photographer, Lightroom guru, and director of education for Kelby Media Group, Matt Kloskowski, about his journey from sales to art, his preferred gear, and some inside information about the Kelby Media empire.
Adorama TV presents The reDefine Show with Tamara Lackey, where she talks with creatives who make it all work, bringing their best creative and business tips to you, along with fresh ideas and equipment favorites.
You can check out much more content with photographers, filmmakers, and entrepreneurs by watching Adorama TV. Hello, Matt.
Hello, Tamara.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. You are, Matt Kloskowski.
Yeah, I am.
Director of Education, or is it Education Director?
Either one.
Okay.
I think they both mean the same thing.
No, they don't. They're very different. At Kelby Media Group.
Yes.
As well as a Lightroom guru.
Yes, maybe.
And a photographer.
Yes.
And a family man.
Yes.
Which do you identify with most?
All these things.
Which and a weightlifter.
A weightlifter, yes. In fact, I worked out right before we came here.
Yes, I can tell.
Oh, no.
And so it begins.
It's been like this for days. So which one do
you most identify with? Assuming it doesn't have to be a one,
right.
But
I am an incredibly lucky person because I love going to work every day. A lot of people don't know that. You know, like I work at Kelby Media Group, and I think they see they're so used to people that are in this industry being more of a freelance. And more of a freelance type of a position, but I actually work full time for Kelby Media Group.
Right.
And I guess a lot of people just think like we just put on seminars, and so you just go to a seminar when you need to, and they pay you. But I go into the office every day.
Yeah, you have a desk and
yeah,
I've seen it in Windows.
Yeah. So I'm incredibly lucky because I love my job. I love going to work every day. Sir, I've been there for over 8 years, and there's not really been a day, except for the day you visited, where I woke up and I thought, man, I got to go to work today. So yeah, I love my job. So I'm really lucky because I got that, and then of course I love my family. I mean, you know, I got a 9-year-old and an 11-year-old, 2 boys, and they're growing like weeds, and so it's kind of hard, you know, because I love being with them too, but there's nights where
there's too much to love.
Yeah, I'm at work and I'm like really into something and I don't want to go, but then I do want to go because I want to go see them.
And you're serious, pretty serious MMA. Am I saying it right? Martial arts?
Taekwondo.
Is that different than martial arts? Isn't that?
It's you know what? Semantics. It's to most people don't know, but yeah, MMA is everything.
Okay.
It's Taekwondo, it's jiu-jitsu, it's ground fighting, it's kicking, it's punching.
But you're like into
Taekwondo is more Korean kicking, punching, that of an art. We don't go to the ground and try to take somebody's arm into a pretzel, and those guys would kill me. Those guys would just. I'd sit there. I'd say, okay, stay 5 feet away and I'll kick you, but they wouldn't, and they'd come in and they'd take me to the ground, and my arm would be wrapped around my head in a pretzel.
All right, so you started out in sales, moved into software development, then went into how was that road journeyed?
Okay, that road was journeyed in college, me not knowing what. So I'll start off with this. I've never in my life taken a photography or Photoshop class, other than like coming to Photoshop world.
Lightroom course? Have you ever taken a Lightroom class?
No.
You just grew up knowing it?
I guess so.
You studied it?
Yeah. So I've never in my life taken a Photoshop or photography class. I didn't go to school for it. I didn't take classes for it in school. I was in college. I had no idea what I wanted to do. So somebody said that marketing was an easy major. And
well, that's for me.
I jumped on it. So I got into marketing, graduated, and of course, marketing means sales.
Right.
So I started working for Caterpillar construction equipment.
Yes.
And I was selling construction equipment, renting, and all that stuff. And then I went back to school at night because I really liked computers, and this is in the early 90s.
Right.
So computers are just like, you know, everybody's starting to get their first personal computer. I got mine. I really liked it. I went back to school. I got my IT degree.
Right. So you're selling farm machinery by day and learning all about these computer things at night.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I learned how to do all the coding and all that, and so then I got a job in that field.
What were you coding?
Visual Basic, C++, all that. Geeky stuff. So I got a job in that field, and it was pre-Y2K, so it was like all you had to do is say, I know how to turn on a computer, and
you got a job.
You got a job. So I got a job in that stuff, and then somebody walked a copy of Photoshop over. I designed when I was in sales. I said, this is the Photoshop connection. When I was in sales, our marketing department, advertising department was busy, and so they couldn't get materials that I could hand out to people. So I got a copy of Photoshop, got a copy of Photoshop, and I started making my own. So I had stuff to hand to customers.
Okay.
So then that's how I got into Photoshop. Then I got into IT. They dropped a copy of Photoshop off. They said, does anybody know how to make us some cool little buttons for the website? And I was like, I can do it.
I can make buttons.
And then I became the interface designer. So I started designing the interfaces for all the companies that we worked with.
Got it.
And from there, I started to do some articles and teaching and all kinds of stuff like that. And then, and so I already knew everybody over at Kelby Media.
Yeah.
And they needed somebody full time, and I lived in Tampa, and it just kind of worked out.
Did you have like a fateful moment with Scott one day when you were both like over dinner and you looked at each other and said, let's get closer, or anything like that?
You know, so the first time I ever formally met Scott, we were at a carnival. In our local area, and I'm standing there with my kid in a stroller, and then my older one and wife went off to go on a ride, and I look over, and there's Scott kind of standing there. I think he had a Coke or something like that. I was like, Scott? And so I went up and...
So you already knew who he was?
I knew who he was. I went up and introduced myself. I said, hi, my name is Matt. I write the articles for the website. He's like, oh yeah, I know your stuff. And so we just talked there. So I didn't talk to Scott a lot. I mean, I guess he had followed my stuff on their website and in the magazines and stuff.
Right.
So when they sat down and talked about, hey, we need somebody full time here,
yeah.
I guess my name popped up.
Got it. How much do you think your energy level and your childlike enthusiasm has benefited?
Translate immaturity.
Has benefited your career?
I hope a lot. I mean, you know, I hope people identify with just, you know what it is you just want people, because we're teachers.
Right.
People learn the most when they have fun.
Yeah.
When they're just relaxed and they have fun doing it. So hopefully that's kind of translated into just sit back, relax, enjoy yourself. It's not geeky stuff. It's just let's sit back and learn and have fun while we're doing it.
Yeah, what were you telling me? I think last time I was there, you said something about like how oftentimes Scott will come by and make it really hard for you to work.
Oh my God, you know, I mean, the guy owns the company.
Yeah.
He's paying for my salary.
Yeah.
And so here I'm doing a video, and I've got my microphone and everything, and he walks in, and he'll come in the door and hear it like I'm at my desk, and he's like, and he just comes like right in front of you, like, because he'll stand outside, and then he'll do a little dance. and then if that doesn't...
What does he do? What does it look like?
A little dance.
Okay.
I'm not doing it. I'm not Jeremy Coward. If that doesn't work, then he'll come inside and he'll start doing it. And if that doesn't work, then he'll just flat out, bah!
And how long is this progressing for?
Like how many years?
No, like from the beginning of when he starts this attention-getting behavior.
He did.
He's in your face.
It's a minute.
It's a minute.
Yeah.
But you're like, dude, I'm trying to work here.
Yeah, but you can't. I mean, dude, it's your money. I just spent 20 minutes making that, and now I got to redo it. So.
And that is part of the spirit of what you love in the company.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody knows how big Kelby Media Group is.
Yeah, I think that always surprises people.
Yes.
Because there's so many aspects to it. So I think in many ways it could be a smaller company if we didn't produce our own books and if we didn't do our own seminars and we hired companies to do these things for us. But we actually do all that stuff in-house.
Right.
So we edit our own books in-house rather than having the publisher, which usually provides an editor, provides a layout person, provides a tech editor and all that stuff. We have all those people in-house.
Yeah.
So there you have a whole book publishing team.
Right.
And we have 3 magazines. So you need a layout person, a graphics person, a creative director for all those magazines, an editor for all those magazines, a copy editor for all those magazines. So, 3 magazines, add that.
Yes.
Now you need a circulation person who's going to do all that. You need a print person, you need accounting, you need HR for all these people.
Yeah.
And then you got online training. So now we have a video team. So there's, 12 people there, and it's just...
It gets big.
Yeah, and then marketing for all that stuff too.
Right. Tripod, monopod, no monopod, neither always.
Tripod.
Everywhere?
For landscapes.
For landscapes.
For landscapes, because I shoot at sunrise, sunset, and you can't
Because you like
handle-
sharp photos.
I like sharp photos.
Concerts or strobes? Lighting?
Strobes.
Always?
Yes.
Why?
The constants, I don't know.
What do you have against constants?
Why
are you so down on constants?
I'm not down on them. I like strobes. I like the light better. Constants are kind of contrasty for me. A little bit contrasty. Like you always got to crank up your ISO, and I like sharp photos. So I don't want to crank up my ISO.
Are you exclusively Nikon?
Yeah. My first DSLR was a Canon. Rebel.
And then you were like, I don't need this crap.
Yeah, I started making friends in the industry with Nikon, and had some friends at Nikon, and here's what I say about the Nikon Canon thing, because I could care less.
Right.
You can put a Canon in my hand and I'll shoot just fine with it. Here's what I tell people, and this is what got me into Nikon: shoot what your friends shoot. If your friends shoot Canon, get a Canon. You know why?
Because you can borrow lenses.
You can borrow lenses,
yes.
and you can exchange gear, and if something, I need an extra battery, here you go,
Yeah.
And perfect example, because I was in Portland, and my battery died, and the guy I was shooting with was Canon, and he's like, oh, I got an extra one. I'm like, yeah, dude, that doesn't do me any good. So shoot what your friends shoot. They're both good cameras. Who cares?
I've never heard that advice before. It's great. It's simple, to the point.
Yeah.
In the entirety of your career, what would you say is the most, like, oh, that was awesome moment you've had? Like, just pure pleasure. Like, that was awesome.
I have two?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you love your job. That makes sense.
Yeah. Well, the Photoshop worlds. So Photoshop world, like when we come to Photoshop world, that's like one of my favorite times, because especially like when you do a class and you know when you nail a class, and like everything you're doing, it works out great. There's no hiccups. So that's always fun when you just nail a class. And then one of my other good career moments was when I finished my compositing book. Like,
oh, just the feeling of like.
Yeah, everybody's like this. No matter what field you're in, you finish a project, and usually 6 months later, you're like, I should have done that. I should have done this. I could have done that. You always second guess yourself. When I finished my Photoshop compositing book, it's like I felt really good. Like I felt like I wrote a book.
Like there's no second guessing.
Yeah,
like you did.
I felt like I wrote the best book on the topic out there, that it was going to help people, and that was going to help a lot of people, no matter what type of compositing you wanted to do.
When you look from the beginning of your career to now, and you look at other people who would love to get to where you are in terms of not only your level of success, but the way you enjoy it, which is such a critical part of success, what would you say that early on you did right?
How about stick-with-itness?
Is that like persistent?
It's my job, because I told you my job wasn't Photoshop.
Right.
So I liked Photoshop, and so I did it at night. I came home and I sat on the computer and went to websites and read books and learned Photoshop. And when I first started trying to write for NAP, when I first became a NAP member in like
National Association of Photographers.
National Association of Photoshop Professionals, which is the part of what Kelby Media Group is. That's our association. When I first became a NAP member, it was 99, 2000, whatever it was, I would send the executive director emails saying, hey, can I write tutorials for you guys? And it probably took me three years before he gave me a shot. Interesting. So it was. And you didn't give up? No, I did. He was always very nice about it. He never just said, no, we don't like you. He just said, we're not looking for somebody at the time. And I said, no. And I would always say, no problem. Do you mind if I follow up with you in 6 months? Yeah. And that I got from sales. Yeah. That I got, you got the no, that was fine. You didn't need what I had at the time. It's not the eternal rejection. But you just told me it's okay for me to come back here again and try to sell something to you again. So, So I'd send him an email 6 months later, say, I don't want anything right now. I said, okay, I'll follow up with you again. He said, okay. And so I just did it, and I just stuck with it. And well, I think what's so intriguing about that is you hear all kinds of inspirational quotes about don't give up too soon, or you're 99% of the way there, or all that sort of thing. But statistics really do bear out that the people who try and maintain and try again and hear the no's and go back one more time, they are the winners. Yeah, and if you couple that with, it sounds the whole Nike thing, but just do it. Yeah. Like the 80-20 rule. It's 80%, 20%. You know what? Sometimes 80% is good enough. Just ship it. Yeah. Just get it out there. And it's like starting a project. What are the art of the start? Just start it. Yep. If you don't start it, it's never going to get there. And that's the hardest part of anything. And just the starting, especially when the starting feels so imperfect. Yeah. I think it was Jeff Bezos, who said that if you're not embarrassed by your first product, you waited too long to ship it. Yep. Which I think is a great quote. I read that book. Exactly right. Well, good. So tell everybody where they can find out more about you on the Ski Report. The best place to go is mattk.com, mattk.com. I have a blog there, my portfolio's there, all my social media links are there. So instead of pointing you to all that stuff, just go to the website. Go there and find it. Yep. Okay. Well, good. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
And now I've lost interest in that topic, so.
That's okay. I'm fading from this whole thing, actually.
Let's do that again.
For all the latest photography, video, and computer gear, visit Adorama.com. Place your order by 8 p.m. and it ships the same day. Plus, next time you're in New York City, be sure to visit our store located on 18th Street between 5th and 6th Avenue.